سورة الفاتحة. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. أما بعد. Man is in need of acting according to three things. We discussed yesterday that either a person acts according to his desire, or he acts according to his reason, or he acts according to a hukum and taklif. And all three things are necessary for him. All of these three things are necessary for him. Sometimes a man acts according to his desire. There's a place for that. Sometimes a man acts according to his reason, what he thinks is right. And sometimes a man has to act according to taklif and according to obligation that has been put on him. In other words, a person cannot act completely according to his desire, nor can he act completely according to his reason. A person who says that I only act according to my reason is wrong, is incorrect. Because there are many places where you will see that acting according to your thinking and what you think is right will be wrong and will be incorrect. In fact, it would not even be able to happen. It cannot exist. There are certain places where you have to act only according to taklif, only according to obligation. For example, you go to a doctor. When you go to a doctor, now obviously whatever the doctor gives you as a prescription, then you take the prescription as he gives you. You don't add your 2 cents into it and say that, hey, you know what? I think that this prescription is wrong and I'm going to give myself my own prescription. You see that it would be incorrect to do that and wrong to do that, and people don't do that. There are certain places where you act according to obligation, according to taklif. And there's no way out of that. There's really no way out of that. There's no way anyone can say that you can only, that for example, anyone who says that a person can act completely according to his desire is incorrect. And it's also wrong to say that a person can act all according to his own aql and reasoning. That's also incorrect. If I have you so far from here, now I want to go on to something a little bit deeper so that we understand through the examples in our own life what this means and how it applies. We send me salawats. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. People cannot act always according to desires. One thing. People cannot act always according to their reason and what they think is right. Second thing. And I want you to pay attention to the word cannot here, because I'm going to change that word now. And I'll give you another meaning to this. I said people, they cannot act according completely to their desires, neither can they act completely to their reasoning. Now I'll change that word and I'll say, people do not want to act completely according to their desires. People do not want to act completely according to their aql and reasoning. Understand what I'm saying? And this is what I want to explain today. Not only is it wrong, meaning that they can't, I'm not saying that they can, I'm saying that they don't want to also. Anyone who says that I do what I like to do, and I do what my heart desires to do, he himself doesn't want to do that sometimes. Anyone who says that I do what I think is right all the time, he himself will stop and say that, listen, enough is enough, I want to be obliged. I want to have an obligation. I want to have a hukum. And this is what I want you to understand today, my friends, because we are talking about wajibat. And sometimes I want hear people to understand, because of the fact that I might be going into a subject that is delving very deep. But I think that if you want to learn something, if you want to be good at something, as I explained before, it's different than feeling good. I want you to remember that, feeling good is different than being good. And then I can give, as I said before, I can read hadiths for you and good stories for you that will make you feel good. But that won't make you be good. Being good is by understanding what wajibat and obligations and taklif is. That is how you can be good. A lot of people, because if I mention the same things that you know, and you say Subhanallah and Bahba and La Ilaha and all that, that's not going to help you or me. It's not going to make you become good. It will make you feel good. And these feel-good speeches make you feel good. And hopefully will help you to become better, but it doesn't make you good. What makes you good is wajibat and taklif. That's what makes you good. And that's why we want to understand this very well and go deep into it to see how we should look at wajibat, how we should look at taklif. Few more days that I want to spend on this topic so that we understand this, and from there we'll go on to another topic. But I want you to understand this very well so that you know what are the implications of this subject in our life. Salawat ala Muhammad wa alihi. In a society that we live in that advocates freedom of choice and that you can choose what you want to do. In fact, it espouses the belief that you should be doing what you like to do, whatever your heart desires. And that's why you have idioms that have been made and created because of this ideology that has been advocated and promoted. What is that ideology that says that, hey man, as long as you're happy? What does that mean? As long as you're happy, everything is fine. As long as you want to do it, that's great. Whatever you fancy. Great. So what happens is that at the end we are told that, listen, as long as you're happy, you should be alright with it. It doesn't matter what others are happy or not. As long as you are happy. As long as you're okay with it. As long as it's in your fancy and whatever pleases you. So my friends, understand, this is an ideology in the West, and you see that freedom is there. And people who come from abroad, people who come from, let's say, Muslim countries or other countries for that matter, but Muslim countries in particular, because we are dealing with that. People who come from, let's say, Iraq or other places like that, when they come over here, they say, oh, there's freedom here. We can do whatever we want to do. Right? There's that choice here, and we can do what we want to do. So in that environment of that freedom of choice that people say that, and I will explain this, what it means, and why it's there, and why this promotion is there, and why this push is there for this. That will come. But right now, just understand this. In that environment, where a person who's raised here, yes, for those immigrants who came here as adults, they haven't been through schools. They haven't been through the system here of education. But those who have been through education system here, they'll know this better. That how much they are indoctrinated to believe that you should do whatever your heart desires. There is no authority, there is no obligation, there is no burden. You shouldn't have any guilt of burden, of not doing your burden, and hence you should be free of that. This is pushed on them. But in spite of all the pushing, in spite of all this promotion and propaganda, in spite of all of this, we see that many youngsters who are growing up here, I'm not talking about elders. Elders, have their own issues. They can say that, alhamdulillah, we came from Iraq, we came from Iran, we came from Pakistan. We have values that we have been raised in. Those values are inbuilt in us, and alhamdulillah, those values are helping us. But children and youth who have grown up here, what we have seen in them is that in spite of all this push for them to become this liberal and this freedom of choice and to do whatever they like, in spite of all of this, we see that youngsters are becoming more mu'min than the adults are. Youngsters are becoming better Muslims than their fathers and parents. Youngsters are becoming stronger at obeying Allah and wanting to obey Allah than their parents are. Their parents might argue, oh, back home we have no freedom and this and that, here we are free to choose. But their children are saying that, no, we don't want to choose, we don't want to do this, we want to do what Allah says. In spite of all of that, we see this phenomenon taking place. We see this thing taking place. And here, I just want you to mention something here, that do not be surprised at that. What, you think it's a shock that this is happening? That youngsters are becoming good? When you look at these youngsters who have been raised over here, you see them that they are so strong and that they don't want to make their choice. They don't want to do what pleases them. They want to do what pleases Allah. Why is this happening to them? And people are like, alhamdulillah, look in America, you see our children are becoming better than in Pakistan or in these places. Why is that happening, my friends? We shouldn't be shocked at this. We shouldn't be surprised at this. It's not a big deal. If a person becomes religious here and wants to obey Allah here in America, it's not a big deal. Really, it's not a big deal. It shouldn't be shocking. It should be surprising. And the reason is, you know why? Because, my friends, understand this. A person who grows up in this environment of always doing what he pleases and always doing what he likes to do and what his heart desires to do, after a while he gets tired of it. He gets tired. His heart starts missing being told what to do. He starts yearning for having someone tell him what to do. Is that when you were a child and your mother used to tell what to do and your father used to say what to do, at that point, you used to be like, oh, this and that. When you grow up and do whatever you want to do, sometimes you feel that, you know what, I want to go back to my young age and at least be told by my father and mother what to do. You start yearning for that. You start missing that. In an environment like this, you start missing that. Someone tell me, I want to be told what to do. This is, my friends, understand, this is where, you see, it's not a big deal. If in America we for example, see that youngsters are becoming good movement. Why? It's because of the fact that they have always been told to make their own choices until they got so tired of it. They said that, no, we had enough of making our own choices. We have enough of listening to what we want. Now we want to listen to Allah. We want to see what Allah says. You see that, my friends, how that changes? Inshallah, let us send salawats. My friends, obviously, the reason I asked you to send salawat all of these times in the speech and throughout the speech is not to wake you up. Alright? It's not because of that. No, because I know that you all are awake. But the issue is this, right? Sometimes when we want to dwell into the ma'arif of Islam and the learnings of Islam that are deeper, there is a nur that is needed to understand those ma'arif. And inshallah, by reciting salawat, we gain some nur so that we can understand the teachings of Ahlul Bayt. When we look at our society again, this push that we see for liberalization, for an agenda that we see that is being pushed for people to make their own choices, and many other agendas that we see are being pushed. Some agendas are just plain ugly and repulsive. Like the agenda of homosexuality that is being pushed on us to make us think that this is a normal thing, this is acceptable, this is something that's okay. And the fact is that no matter how much you say that it's okay, it's not okay. It's repulsive, it's revolting, it's disgusting, it's inhumane. And this is what Allah says, that man will become worse than animals. Animals don't do this. Man has a tendency of doing things that are worse than animals. But it's not about that they do it. You see, one thing if someone is homosexual, really, that's not the issue. This is the problem with batil. You see, and I want you to understand this today really well, what I'm saying. The problem with wrong, when they have these evil habits, is not that they have it. So, the issue is that when they have these agendas, what these agendas they do is something else. What these agendas do is that if they were just doing something in their home and doing these repulsive acts in their home, that's nothing. We don't care about that. No one cares about that. Even in an Islamic world, if you're doing evil in your home, no one's going to come knocking at your door and knock your door down and see that. The only Khalifa we had who used to jump the wall to come inside the homes is dead. Yes, we had that Khalifa before. He used to jump the wall and go inside and accuse people of things. That is not Islam. And that Khalifa was not Islam. He is dead. And his Islam is also dead. Maybe it exists in some parts of the world which are run by Wahhabis, who might knock at your door and knock it down and so forth and so on. You know what I'm speaking about, right? When Umar, he jumped over the wall to accuse someone of drinking, and obviously that person who he caught, criticized him for doing that. He said that, what are you doing? He says, I caught you drinking, but you jumped my wall. He made 3 mistakes, man. If I did 1 haram, you did 3 haram things. 1, you are a jasoos. You are doing spying on my house. Right? 2, you came into my house without knocking at my door, without asking for my permission. And 3, you didn't come from the door. Allah says come from the door, you jumped the wall. Only thieves jump wall, man. What's going on with you? So that Khalifa is dead, and that sort of Islam is dead also, and we don't have that Islam. The true Islam says that if you do whatever you want in your home, it's your own business. It's not anyone's business. What you do is between you and Allah. But the problem is that when evil is giving freedom, when you give freedom to evil, what evil starts doing is not just being itself itself and behaving itself. What evil starts doing is starts imposing itself on others and promoting itself towards others. That's what it starts doing. It is one thing to get, for example, okay, you homosexuals, you can be in your home and do what you want, just don't come out. Don't come out of the closet, you can stay in the closet, that's fine. But when we give you the freedom to come out, now what happens is that they start promoting it to others, to our children, that this is alright for you to be like this, it's okay. You see, that's what evil starts. I'm not giving examples of many other things, everything else, whatever is evil. If you give it freedom, it starts imposing itself on others. It starts bossing everyone around. And then, when I grew up here, I watched TV here when I was growing up. I watched the shows when I was growing up. In fact, the shows that I used to watch in the 70s and those times when I was growing up used to be decent shows. Decent shows. Now I can't even watch TV. Of course I want to know my children. Neither do I watch TV. Why? Because, one day I was at a laundromat. I was doing my laundry some years ago. It's not even early, some years ago. I was doing my laundry. And while doing my laundry, I saw, put my clothes aside. It was evening time, prime time. Prime time TV is when most people are watching. So, I'm watching a show. And these two high school kids, boys, in a car, talking to one another. And I was watching the show, I have no clue what TV is, this and that. Meaning that I'm not interested. I'm just watching the show because I'm there. I have nothing else to do. I'm watching the show. And all of a sudden, these two boys, regular boys, starts kissing each other. I'm like, my jaws dropped in shock, and I look around and said, am I the only one shocked here? Am I the only one in disbelief here? When I was growing up, you would never see that on TV. You would never see that on TV. Now, not only do you see it, but they show that it's a normal thing. So kids who are watching this say, well, it's normal. And the idea is try it out and see for yourself. You see, my friends, when you give evil freedom, they don't take the freedom and go home and sleep. They take that freedom and start to impose it on others, start to promote it on others. That's what happens. Sometimes those things have to stop, but when it comes to freedom, let me just explain from a different angle if you send me salawats. Our choice, we grew up with this here. Make your own choice. You're your own man. Be happy with your, as long as you're happy, you're good. Right? We grew up with that. My friends, understand this. This choice, this growing up here, we understood one thing. And I want you to understand that. What did we understand from this? In this society that we live in that is telling us to do this, and they proudly claim that in America we have the freedom to choose. We have the freedom to do what we want to do. And the issue is, no, you don't have the freedom here to do what you want to do. In fact, you're not free to do what you want to do. You are forced to do what you want to do. You're forced to do that. You don't have the freedom, or you're not free to do what your heart desires. You're forced to do that. You're being pushed to do that even if I don't want to. No, you do what you want to do. You should do what you want to do, no one else. How? Listen, I don't want to live like that. I want to live my life by obeying someone else, by obeying God, by obeying Allah. No, you can't do that. Why not? You see, if there was freedom, then there would be freedom for the opposite also. But here you see, and obviously in the West I'm talking about, let me just give you an example of an extreme example. And this will apply to us and we can understand it in some way here. Right? And this is where it goes from here. The agenda that is being pushed here. Let's say in France, A girl goes to school with hijab. A girl goes to school with hijab. And when she goes to school with hijab, the people there say, no, she can't come in there with that hijab, with this hijab on. They kick her out of school. They kick her out of school for wearing hijab. Now, my friends, let me tell you this. Why was that? Because she said, well, this is what my religion says. That's why I'm doing this. Tell me, if she had said, no, I like this fashion, that's why I'm doing this, would they have kicked her out? See, understand the difference here. If she had said that, no, I mean, this is the way I like dressing, I love this scarf. Okay. If you're doing it because you want it, it's fine, you can do it. But if you're doing it because you're listening to some higher authority, then no, we don't want this. You see, understand this? So you're free to do what you want, but you're not free to do what Allah wants. That's the bottom line here. You're not free to choose what you want, you're forced to do that. All this propagation and advertising is telling you to make your own choice. You're not being told that in spite of all that advertisement, if I say that, listen, I want to do what Allah wants to do, and everyone's looking at me, what's wrong with you? You see, you're being forced to do that, my friends. And in spite of all this agenda that is happening, why is it? Understand from here, in spite of all that agenda of pushing people to do what they want to do, what their heart desires and what their desires say, in spite of all of that, you see people are coming to God and saying, enough is enough. We don't want to listen to ourselves anymore. Now we want to listen to what God has to say. What Allah has to say. Now people are... Why? Because it's a need, my friends. They know this agenda is so important for them that they need to block the path towards Allah, towards listening to hukum, towards listening to taklif. They're doing that. And now what happens is that people are coming back to religion. Whether they go to churches or masjids, it doesn't matter. They are all saying that, listen, we don't want this agenda of doing what we want. We have done it all our lives here. All my life I have lived over here doing what I want. Now I want to listen to what Allah wants. I want to see what He wants. Enough of this. I've made my share of mistakes and wrongs by listening to what my heart says. How many places my heart ached and pained because of the mistakes I made. I don't want that anymore. I want that peace that I get by just listening to God, to listening to Allah. Tell Allah. This, my brothers, is what taklif is. Taklif is natural. This obligation we have is natural. People don't want to live their lives just by listening to their heart or their aql. No, there's a time that comes and says, listen, it's enough of this. I want to listen to Allah now. I want to listen to something else now. That's what brings peace. It's necessary for man to do that. This is why these wajibat that are there, these are there to help us to fulfill that need that we have. And that's why these wajibat are not there all the time. These wajibat are not there all the time. They're only a few times. Allah gave 5 prayers He made wajib a day. He made 5 prayers wajib, 17 rakah. He didn't make a lot. He didn't do a lot. Why? Because He knows this is a need. So you fulfill that need. But the need of using your own aql is there, of your own reason. The need of following your own desires is there also. That has its place. Everything has its place. But you can't take away taklif. Taklif is a part of life. It makes us fulfilled. It makes us whole. It makes us complete. Salawat. Okay, just one question I will raise here so that we can just understand some different angles to this, you know. How does one become a person who's defiant of taklif, of obligations, who runs away from obligations, who escapes from his duties? How does a person become like that? Why does it rain? If it's necessary to have obligations and taklif, then why are there people who run away from that? My friends, the reason why, I'll give some reasons also, is because it's a psychological issue. The psychological issue. Some people, the way they have been raised is such that, you know what? You ever heard that, a person who didn't have an enjoyable childhood, he now wants to enjoy his adulthood more. Because in his childhood, he was never given the enjoyment. You see, again, we go back to that hadith I mentioned yesterday from the Prophet. He says, from the time when he's 0 to 7, your child, give him what he wants. Let him play. Let him have a good time. Why? Because this is the time when he should follow his desires. Because if he doesn't follow him here, then he will grow up yearning for them and become an adult and do what his desires tell him to do. Many of us stop our children from doing what they desire at that age because it's a problem for us. It's a problem for us. My son wants to play. I want to watch TV. And he says, Daddy, play with me. He said, get away. I'm tired. Watching TV. Go do something else. When you don't play with your child, when you don't do that for your child, and that child grows up yearning to have that time to do what his desires want to do, so that when the time comes and he grows up, instead of doing what Allah says and what the taklif says, he starts doing what his desires say. He becomes imbalanced. It's very important that how many psychological effects that we have on ourselves by raising children in the wrong way. That's why you see a lot of people run away from wajibat and namaz and prayer and salat. They don't want to pray, they don't feel like praying. Why? Because when they had the chance to follow their desires, they were not allowed to. Now what do people, okay, I can understand that about the desires, but how about your aql, your reason? Islam emphasizes aql and reason. Islam emphasizes that. What about reason then? What should we do with that? I don't understand this. Why are there people who refuse taklif because of reason? They say, no, we want to do what we think is right. You have that. They're called pseudo-intellectuals. They're not intelligent, they want to be intelligent. Right? Because anyone who's intelligent would recognize taklif. But because he's not intelligent, he doesn't recognize that. They're also called scientist worshippers. They worship scientists. Not science, scientists. I'm not talking about Scientology. I'm talking about people who, for example, whenever you bring an ayat, they'll say, science says otherwise. This is taklif and this is reason. What are you trying to bring these two together? But you see, such people, what they do is that they bring reason in front of taklif and they want to bring that all the time. But it doesn't work out. Again, the need for taklif is there. A person becomes whole by listening to obligation. That's why 3 things were trained in us, in our hadith we have in our training of our children. Yes, reasoning is important in its place. Desires are important in their place. But where taklif is, neither can reason come, neither can desires come. Just one thing I will mention here, in 1 minute, and we will start the prayer, inshallah. 1 minute, I want to raise this. This is a little bit subtle, though I don't want you to understand this. If someone comes and says, listen, what if the taklif that Allah has given, wajib that Allah has given, whatever wajib it is, the amr or nahi that Allah has given is according to my desire and my reason. Do you understand the question? In other words, I'm also agreeing that, for example, hijab is good. And a girl wears hijab because she feels that she is happy in that. Now, how does that go and coincide with Allah's hukum? Because you said that the pleasure of obeying Allah is to has said that when you do it, you find a pleasure in it. So how can we find pleasure if what Allah says is the same as what I want? How can we find pleasure there? That is the question. And if someone has this question, good for them. At least they're doing something good. That's good for them, right? But the answer to that, and I'll just mention this answer, my friends, is this. Right? Somebody understand that. Really, it is true what you're saying. There's more pleasure in listening to what Allah says than if you do it, if you wanted to do it. If I wear hijab because I like doing it. If I, for example, have a beard because I feel good in it. It's different than if you do it, but if Allah tells you to do it. Just I'll give you one incident from history and you understand it. History of our ulama. Sayyid Murtaza. Sayyid Murtaza was one of the great early ulama, mutaqaddimin. He was a great alim, he was a marja of his time and everything. When he died, at the time he died, he had a wasiyat. He gave a wasiyat to the people and he said, redo all my prayers. He said, redo all my prayers. He said, everyone was like, you are the marja. We learn prayers from you. We learn how to pray from you. You want us to do your prayers? You used to enjoy your prayers so much. You used to cry in your prayers and enjoy them so much. He says, that's what I'm afraid of. I used to enjoy them too much. So now I'm confused whether I prayed them because I enjoyed them or did I pray them because Allah told me to pray them. Friends, understand that there is a different pleasure when you do things because Allah has told you to do it, not because I want to. Because Allah has said, that's why I'm doing it. That's my pleasure. I wear hijab. If someone wears hijab and they also like it, tell yourself, remind yourself at that time when you go there, when you wear hijab, remind yourself, Allah, I even though I like doing this, but I'm doing this because you asked me. That's why I'm getting the pleasure of wearing this. This, my friend, should be the ideology. This is the ideology that we should have. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. صلوات الله.